Well, with the recent report coming from the United Nations, that's definitely about 44% of the social intervention fund by this administration was only what reached the most vulnerable. Many Nigerians are asking, why should that be? Knowing that we spent about 330 billion naira in the last 2 years, all to deal with vulnerable Nigerians. Well, anyway, while those questions are being asked, I want to quickly welcome you to another lovely time on television. It's Atlantic TV, and you do know it's Viewpoint, and also you do know my name is Mike Ebubadio.
Thank God it's Friday. What a beautiful day to end the week. And today is the Friday edition of Viewpoint. You know what that means, right? Well, let me welcome you specially to the special Friday edition of Viewpoint on Atlantic TV. I am Mercy Irabo, and you know what Viewpoint is all about. We start with the dailies, we go straight into the dialogue, and the news comes around, and of course, trending. And you know, Friday edition of trending, yeah? Yes, you can engage with us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, at Atlantic Media and TV. We need to take this quick break, and once we return, the dailies will be next.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
Well, yes, definitely 6 papers is what we have for review this lovely Friday morning. And we have the Punch, the Vanguard, the Guardian, the Daily Trust, and also we do have the Nation and Nigerian Tribune. But you do know I love to start with the Punch first, as you see whether he has his usual puncher. And on the Punch this morning, well, it's all set. PDP delegates arrive amid Saraki's cancellation move. Now we're talking about the Ibadan convention, riders to follow. Ex-Senate President George top PDP leaders clash over caretaker committee plan as INEC reviews judgment. But I'll tell you not to judge all of that story, but rather read it up on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Tinubu shifts 15% fuel import duty to first quarter of 2026. It's another relief for those importers on page 19. AMCON officials and lawyers face contempt charges for contravention of court order. Well, more of an editorial, but I'll tell you to get more of that story on page 21 of the Punch newspaper. Let's see if we still have some majors still on the front page of the Punch this morning. Yes, we do. National Assembly shift WAEC CBT adoption to 2030. There's a screamer on page 3. And genocide interview, don't panic. Piers Morgan tells Tuga. And I'll tell you to read that story on page 14. Airlines reject fresh $11.50 NIS fee. It's a major one on page 19. But the picture of the day is that of the Lagos State Ministry of Agriculture and Food System. And all of that played out yesterday. See them all smiles. But anyway, smiling to the bank. Well, anyway, that's much we can take from the Punch.
Let's check out for stories making it to the headlines of the Nigerian Tribune. On the Nigerian Tribune this morning, the lead story, I have respect for military but abhor lawlessness. And this is coming from Wike, FCT minister carrying out his statutory responsibilities. But, and this is coming from Falana, ex-chief of defense staff Irabo faults Wike's action. More of that story is on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. Let's take a look at some more major stories still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. How misinformation on capital gains tax sparked 4.6 trillion naira market loss. There's a disturbing sad story here on page 12 of the Nigerian Tribune. Troops foil abduction of 74 NYSC members in Borno. There's a very disturbing story on page 22 of the Nigerian Tribune. A federal government halts plans a 15% import duty on petrol and diesel. That story is on page 11 of the Nigerian Tribune. Let's take a look at some more leading stories still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Reps move to suspend 2026 WAEC computer-based examination policy. That's a major one on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. A Senate launches probe into stamp duty revenue. Is an interesting story on page 27 of the Nigerian Tribune. NCP approves BPE move to seed a farm power plants to Transcorp Power Consortium. A major story on page 12 of the Nigerian Tribune. PDP seeks to join Bayelsa deputy governors. A suit against the moves to impeach him. That's a major story on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. Chronic kidney disease is now named leading cause of death globally. Wow, this is coming from Lancet study, and it's on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. Let's take a look at the picture of the day. That's the governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and other dignitaries during the commissioning of multiple projects at Lagos Island East LCDA yesterday. Well, that's all we're taking this morning on the Nigerian Tribune.
Well, I trust you're having a nice time. So let's see if we go straight to Daily Trust. And on Daily Trust paper this morning, the leading story reads, delegates arrive in Ibadan amid calls for caretaker committee. And I'll tell you, we're talking about the PDP convention. And it looks as if all is not too well. But anyway, I'll just tell you to read up that story on page 3 and 4 of the Daily Trust. Gombe State Governor Inuwa Yahaya presents a 2026 budget proposal of 535.69 billion naira tax budget of consolidation to the State Assembly. And you can see that. We'll get more of that story on page 7. Let's see if we take some other major stories still on the front page of the Daily Trust. Yes, they are. How I managed diabetes for 20 years, and 5-year-old man is giving us an insight into that on page 7 and 9. Marketers welcome suspension of 15% fuel import levy. And many will say it's a right move in the right direction, knowing that we are now in the festive season and we do not want to be queuing on account of fuel. Nigeria inch closer to 2026 World Cup ticket. And I could see many Nigerian men smiling and happy with their wife yesterday. You know, we had 4-1. We defeated Gabon. And we are happy that we'll be facing Democratic Republic of Congo rather than Cameroon. But anyway, Reps asked WAEC to suspend CBT for 2026 exam. It's a major one on page 16. But the picture of the day is the foiling of a kidnap attempt of St. 4 core members in Bronu. And that played out just the day before yesterday. We're really excited about that. And we'll see kudos to the Nigerian military force. But anyway, that's how much we can take from the Daily Trust.
Let's see what the Guardian has for us this morning. On the Guardian this morning, the lead story. Victims bear scars, endure trauma as law remains on paper. And this is talking about the Anti-Torture Act at 18. This very big story is on page 4 and 5 of the Guardian newspaper. Nigeria supplied 12.6 million barrels to Dangote, says NMDPRA, and that's a major one on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. ASU may resume full-blown strike on November 21 over selective implementation of pacts. Yeah, that's a major story on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. A Senate considers bill subjecting military convictions to court review. You can get more of that on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Still at the front page of the Guardian newspaper, enforcement of expired expertise, others against Nest Oil, Necons unlawful. Well, you can read more of that on page 25 of the Guardian newspaper. Now, let's take a look at some more major stories still on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Passengers stranded after train breaks down in Kaduna. That's a sad story on page 29 of the Guardian newspaper. Tax burden on airlines threatens aviation sector, operator warns. That's a major one on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. The African Union chief dismisses genocide claims as Obi tax editors on nation building. More of that story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Confusion, crisis swirl around PDP convention amid conflicting court orders. That's a major one on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. ADC says fresh 1.15 trillion naira loan exposes Tinubu's addiction to reckless death. That's a major one on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Let's take a look at the picture of the day. Yeah, that's a cartoon illustration of the lead story, the failure of the Anti-Torture Act to protect citizens, showing a police officer holding a machete while justice scales tilts unfairly. It symbolizes how law enforcement abuses persist despite the law being in place. The image highlights the gap between legislation and real-life justice. Well, that's all we're taking this morning on the Guardian newspaper. Let's see what the Nation has for us this morning. On the Nation this morning, the lead story, Saraki writes off PDP convention. That's a major one on page 2 of the Nation newspaper. Let's take a look at some more leading stories still on the front page of the Nation. AMCON officials, lawyers face contempt charges for alleged contravention of court orders. Bala Alade Lamidi Adage Damanu served Form 48 notice, and that's a major one on page 2 of the Nation newspaper. I think that's all we have for the Nation. Let's see what we have as the picture of the day. That's a congratulatory message from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to Ekiti, former state governor Dr. Peter Ayodele Fayoshe on his 65th birthday. And we here on Atlantic Studio are saying a big happy birthday to Dr. Peter Ayodele Fayoshe. Well, that's all we're taking this morning on the Nation newspaper.
Well, the Vanguard will be the next paper for us to quickly look at as we extra in on what seems to be on the dailies this lovely Friday morning. No religious persecution, genocide in Nigeria. Idris, Tuga, AU. As PFN asks Trump to support Tinubu against insecurity, reject military threat, Trump echoes what Nigerians of good conscience have been saying, says Peter Obi. But I'll tell you to read all of that story on page 5. Let's see if we take some other major stories. AMCON officials and lawyers face alleged contempt charges for contravention of court order as Bala Alade Lamidi Adege Dan Amu served Form 48 notice. And well, I'll just tell you to notice or really read up that story on page 27. Let's see if we take some more stories still on the Vanguard this lovely morning. And Osimhen shoots Super Eagles past Gabon. Nigeria 4, Gabon 1. Well, a lovely match we've watched, and well, it made us sleep well. But anyway, I'll tell you to get more of that story on page 29. Let's see if we take some other major stories right there. First Bank of Nigerian Quest, Meriva injunction against Net Oil and Nicode has expired by operation of law. No lawful buyers for continued enforcement of the ex parte order. And you can understand who is saying that. Well, I guess it should be Falana, but I don't know. I'll just tell you to read up that story up on page 27. Well, that's the much there. Let's see if we just take the picture of the day. The picture of the day is the 70th birthday anniversary of the Asagba. Well, anyway, you can see our own very governor, no other but Sheriff Boriwori, His Excellency, and a whole lot of other dignitaries as they were in Asaba yesterday to really celebrate with His Royal Majesty at his 70th birthday festivity. Well, anyway, that's the much you can take from the Vanguard and all the dailies this morning. I will always implore you that if you feel you need to read up, well, do yourself a great deal, and I'll be reading that up. But anyway, I wanted to ask Mercy what she feels about the Nigeria-Gabon match. But anyway,
I just know that men slept well yesterday. No crisis
was,
in the house because it was 4-1.
Yeah, it was 4-1.
Yeah.
Well, at least she knows the scores. But anyways, well, we'll be playing Democratic Republic of Congo come Sunday for the finals to see who will be definitely taking that one ticket to the playoffs. And we're talking about the international playoffs. But we're not playing it off, but rather looking at another major one. And one that seems to be on the front burner this morning is the issue of the PDP convention. We are now having more. It's more like the convention is having more mountains to climb on account of it happening in Ibadan during the weekend. But come on, Mercy, it looks as if all is not clear yet but you told me not to say they are the main opposition party for the PDP. And I'm wondering, when will it be all right with them?
I don't know. Let's see if the convention holds today because I don't trust these people and anything could come up. So let's see if it holds and they're able to resolve all of their internal crisis because like I said yesterday, if they do not resolve this, they don't have any chance for the 2027 elections. Just the last Anambra election, I think that's a case study because we saw the difference. Normally, it's always we know these two party systems that are, but now we just saw APGA just coming in, and then the people we thought or the people you said are the main opposition. We saw the numbers. So that's more of what we're going to get for the 2027 elections if they don't resolve all of this, their internal crisis. So
well, anyway, I hope the PDP is listening to Mercy. Well, she'll be giving you a guideline on what you need to do to ensure that you still remain the main opposition party in Nigeria. But what I will not oppose to is us going on the break. And when we come back, you do know dialogue will take center stage right here on Viewpoint on Atlantic TV.
All right, my name is Desoka, the comedy catalyst, one of Nigerian comedy.
All right, guys, back again. Yes, boss. My name is Osh, baby.
Yemi Alade.
Yeah, what up, people? It's your boy Victor Adi.
Girl Niniola.
My name is my wife, Ninja Celebrity type man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka go, waka follow the cow. I know the life for you.
I see you know you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV. Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere, I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom. Atlantic TV. We wanna party.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different. When the lights go out, who do you call? Ticado! Ticado Energy Solutions Limited, your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Ticado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Ticado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at ticado.com.ng. Ticado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace.
Every year, millions of lives are stolen, dreams cut short, futures traded in silence. Human trafficking is a modern-day slavery. It hides in plain sight, tearing families apart and trapping the vulnerable in fear. But together we can end it. Together we can protect, we can rescue, and we can give hope. Say no to exploitation. Say no to slavery. Say no to human trafficking. Powered by Atlantic Media and TV.
Hi everybody and welcome to Wawu Africa. This is the official launching and it's your host QJ and And we are so excited to be here, guys. This is a brand new app, girl, for women, Christocentric women.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great. My expectations are through the roof. We have amazing guests here today, so stay tuned.
And we're gonna be back.
Yeah, we will be back.
a movement that seeks to bridge the gap between opportunity and access. A movement that believes in the transformative power of women's economic empowerment. Our mission is simple, yet ambitious: to provide a safe, inclusive and supportive environment, a safe, inclusive space where women can learn, earn, collaborate and thrive, where they can showcase their skills, share their stories and sell their products and services.
Every day I create, but no one sees me. Until now. Introducing Wow Africa. Learn. Showcase. Connect. Earn. Now, the world sees my worth and pays for it. Wow Africa, where women rise.
Okay, so the inspiration behind Wawu Africa, it stems from women being dealt the lower hand, if I may put it that way. Because in corporate worlds, we see that men always get the better pay, they always get better roles, and if there is a woman in a good position, it is assumed that she did something to get that position. So we're trying to change that narrative where we are saying, look, women are not just meant for the kitchen. Women need to earn more as well. Women need to be heard. Women need to be seen for what they can do, for their skills, not just as some sexual object or some sexual toy, because that is one of the things that has been, or the major thing that has been tied to when you say I'm a woman. That is one thing that people see first. So we're trying to change that narrative. We want women to be out there doing big things just like our male counterparts are doing and not being dependent. We're trying to change that narrative of women are always so dependent on men. We want to be independent, not like we want to just do everything on our own, but we want to be able to stand as women in our various industries, as a lawyer, as a doctor, as an artisan, a content creator, whatever it is that you are. We want women to stand out there.
I think it's a beautiful and a fantastic phenomenon initiative that I think can metamorphose into things like skill acquisition for women, safe space for women training, etiquette for women, empowering women. We call it a man's world. I call it a gentleman's world because the gentleman puts the woman first. Yes. And so I think this is a phenomenal idea. If everyone has a sister, mother, or a daughter, one of them, sister, mother, or daughter. So it's high time we started investing in the women and make this world a better place, a safer place for them. I'm thinking of a WOW counseling, for WOW rehabilitation, for drug addiction for women. I think it's something that is really huge that will begin to make. There are too many layers on what to do to make the world safe and safer for women. And so I believe that this is the beginning of the best days of this thing we just launched today. And so hoping for more.
Why did you decide to support WOW Africa? What does it mean to you as a woman?
It means everything. I am a woman first, and personally, I am a strong advocate for the girl child and for women affairs. So anything women, supporting them, lifting them, you'll find me there. So, but as per this, my media outfits, we are very proud to give them the visibility that they need to reach their targets and where they wish to go, and give them every other support that they need to reach the women that we hope to reach. Women need to learn. It is a basic skill that they must have. They must learn, they must earn, they must grow, and they must learn to collaborate. That's why we are here. I have met some amazing women here. She leads Africa. She's here too. So it is amazing when women support each other. We attain amazing heights. So we cannot overlook the importance of collaborating with other people, other women like us. It is very, very, very important.
Here at WOW Africa, it's an app that supports women. So what are your views on it?
In fact, it's a great idea because it will help women to be able to showcase their businesses
They don't need to, like online businesses now, they can have a space to put in their businesses and make, sell their products easily now for export. My expectations are really high. I've worked with the owner, the person in charge for a while, and I know he's a very brilliant mind, and he has ideas, and this is one of them which has come to fruition. So my expectations are really high. It's a platform to help women be empowered, help women earn, help women scale up, and that aligns with the value of She Leads Africa. That's why we're here, partnering with them, encouraging them, and saying we're here, we're hailing you, we're behind you. We pray and hope that you scale, right, and achieve all your dreams.
Wawu Africa, where women rise.
Don't stop. So it has been an amazing experience, hasn't it? Oh my gosh, we have so many expectations from Wawu Africa, and it has been great vibing with you guys.
Two United Nations Food Agency has warned that millions more people around the globe could face famine, with funding shortfalls worsening an already dire condition. The joint report from the Food and Agriculture Organization and the World Food Programme said conflict and violence were driving acute food insecurity in a majority of the countries identified at risk. The Rome-based agency listed Haiti, Mali, Palestine, South Sudan, and Yemen as the worst, where population face an imminent risk of catastrophic hunger. Also classified as a very high concern were Afghanistan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Myanmar, Nigeria, Somalia, and Syria, with Burkina Faso, Chad, Kenya, and the situation in the Rohingya refugee in Bangladesh, also making the list. The World Food Programme said that due to funding cuts, it had reduced assistance for refugees and displaced people, while suspending school feeding program in some countries. The Food Agric Organization warned that efforts to protect agricultural livelihoods were threatened, which are essential for stabilizing food production and preventing recurring crises. This sad report, putting Nigeria among other hungry hit nations, is coming at a time when the World Bank says despite billions of naira spent yearly to cushion hardship, Nigerian social safety net programs are failing to reach those who need them the most. The new report titled The State of Social Safety Net in Nigeria, obtained by Dialogue this very week, the bank revealed that only 44% of the total benefit from the government-funded safety net scheme actually reach poor Nigerians. All of this is coming at a time when the federal government says it is doing more in dealing with the widespread hunger and poverty affecting most Nigerians. But the question is, with many asking, are the indices being reared up by the government actually a reflection of the situation on ground, or is just only on paper? And hence a need for us to talk about it on Dialogue this morning. And that is dealing with the hunger and poverty in the land. That is what we're having as a major discourse today on the show. We're talking about dealing with the hunger and poverty on the land, knowing that the World Food Programme and also the Food Agriculture Organization, both United Nations agencies, are coming out to say Nigeria is put alongside some major countries and is raising a whole lot of concern about our inability to feed our people. And not just only that, do know that the World Bank just within the week also came out to say that only 44% of the social intervention net being procured by this very government is able to reach the most vulnerable Nigerians that is fashioned out to deal with. But anyway, we're dealing with all of those issues right here on the show. And to help us talk about it is no other person but an activist in high repute. And I'm talking of Comrade Emeka Onwukocha. is of the movement for good governance and democracy. On the show this lovely morning.
Yeah, good morning, my crew. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity.
Well, anyway, I want us to first start with that report coming from the two United Nations food agencies, which, funny enough, put us alongside countries like Myanmar and Afghanistan as major concerns as it concerns hunger. And I'm just really concerned. Is there every reason for us to be worried? I want your reaction as it concerns what these two food agencies are saying, putting us alongside war countries like Myanmar and Afghanistan, that we are having really food crisis on our hands.
Yeah, my crew is quite unfortunate. The data is quite unfortunate, quite touchy. Despicable, if I may say. And like I do say that Nigeria does not have any problem, shouldn't have any problem with hunger, because we have arable land, we have the capacity, we have money to actually invest in food production and ensure that our citizenry, have the opportunity to having access to food. But what we have seen in recent times is the government not having the political will. The government, are treating the welfare of the people with kid gloves. And that is the reason this very frightening data keeps churning out from these international organizations. And that is not the first time. This data has been recurring. If you recall, even your own home National Bureau of Statistics, in 2022, I think it came up with a statistics that 133 million Nigerians are multidimensionally poor. And what that means is that within the poverty gap, these Nigerians cannot afford food. They cannot afford all the necessities that make life a meaning. So, and now the World Bank has come with another statistic saying that number has increased to 139 million Nigerians who are poor and hungry. So what this means is that our governments over time have not prioritized, increase in funding, public funding in the agricultural sector. Because when you do not invest, when you do not cultivate, you don't expect to harvest. So agriculture is a serious business because our lives are tied to agriculture. Without food, my crew will not be here. So food security, ought not to be a jingle that international organizations should be ringing to the ears of our government. We should have been the ones, right? To be in the forefront of ensuring that our citizenry are well fed. I think there's a lacuna there. The issue of lack of political will. Lack of prioritizing the welfare.
That was where my second question would naturally come from, because I'm also a bit curious. Now, if you take another major report that should be from the World Bank early in April this year, I seem to also have that report. During its African Plus report released at the sideline of the spring meeting in Washington, D.C., themselves and IMF had this meeting, and what they came out to say was really disturbing in every sense. Now, it said that poverty will increase by 3% points in Nigeria up to 2027. That's their report. And now the beauty of that report was that it acknowledged that while economic activity shown positive sign in Nigeria, it also shows an increase in underlying challenges, increasing poverty, which means that it's still going to remain with us for a long time. Undermining economic activities seem to be springing, but yes, we are still being faced with those challenges that breed poverty. Now, the $1 million question is, the government is doing enough, or as they say, to try to bring up the economy. But why are they not dealing with the underlying factor that seems to breed poverty? We're talking about issues like insecurity, securing farmers, and not only that, basic social intervention that will help uplift some of these poor persons to the major line of prosperity, often having enough to feed. So why is government just being faced with economic growth and not dealing with the underlying factor that seems to breed poverty? Let's understand.
Yeah, if we want to go, if I throw it to you, would you say Nigeria is a poor country? Nigeria is not a poor country.
No, we have the biggest economy
as it is today, Nigeria is the largest producer of crude oil in Africa.
Yes.
Yeah. And Nigeria is largest producer of gas in Africa.
Yes.
So in other words, our economy is getting boosted, by gas, resources in all this time. So we do not have problem, with fund, right? Nigeria is rich to ensure that the citizens, live life in fulfillment. Section 14, subsection 2 of your constitution, tells you that the primary purpose of government is the security and the welfare. Security and welfare are the two most critical pillars of governance. And if you look at it, it is clear that the government is totally failing in this angle to ensure that security is fixed. That is, the average Nigerian is not under threat in his country. And that the average Nigerians, with the little money you have, the little, minimum wage you are paid, you could afford food, not just food, nutritious food, safe food, and sufficient food. Because these are the three factors that qualify the definition of food security. So now the question is this. Nigerians are hungry, that is true. Statistics stare us in the face. That tells you that those in the government are not prioritizing, yes, the welfare and the needs of the people. So they are not putting the money where the money should be invested in. Like I have told you.
So it's not a lack of we not having the money.
It is, I have told you that this country is, Nigeria is the largest producer of crude oil in Africa. Nigeria is the largest producer of gas in Africa. I'm not talking about other very buoyant natural resources. Now, this country is rich. Going by this analysis is rich. So the problem now is this. Why are we hungry?
Yes.
They say disconnect, they say lacuna. That means the people who are supposed to do the needful, those in governance, are what? Are treating the issue with kid glove. So there is no intention, there's no decisive policy as in saying they are not pained, that no Nigerians should go to bed hungry. Because if you do not invest in this critical sector of agriculture and produce enough food, right, automatically the people, the 220 million Nigerians cannot find enough food to buy, to meet their dietary needs. And to shock you more, let me tell you, in 2003, CADIP was created, Comprehensive Africa Agricultural Development Program. This is an African, platform. Initiative to do what? To boost agricultural production and increase revenue in these countries. And there was, a commitment by all African heads of state, including our government, that 10% of the country's yearly budget should be allocated to agriculture, to at least to increase, to achieve about 6% GDP growth in that sector. Let us start with that. But I will tell you, from that 2003 in Maputo, then that commitment was reenacted in 2013 in Malabo. I will tell you, budgetary allocation to agriculture by this government and by past governments, has not risen up to 1%, at most 1.5%. Now, from that Malabo, we now have 2005 another commitment at Kampala, which is the recent commitment. And I will tell you today, your government budgeted 54.99 trillion naira. And my grade, how much was allocated to agriculture? 132 billion, which amounts to 0.24%. See, with these statistics, right, I don't want to bother myself so much. You could just put your figures together. Does this tell you that your government, prioritizes agriculture, is deliberate about ensuring that that sector is fixed, and the 220 million Nigerians, could go to bed?
So are you saying they are not of the realization that this is so important? Is that what you're saying? Because while I'm asking you that question, I still could remember in May this year, President Tinubu admitted that hunger and poverty remain the biggest threat to peace in this country.
Okay.
So that's why I'm now forced to ask, if they have that realization, are you saying they are, or would you say it's more of a lack of political will? Because he has that realization. This is the first time he's coming out to admit that when there is hunger and poverty, it is a direct hit and threat to peace. That he said. So let's understand, because yeah, you've just said it here, we are not putting enough. So the resources is there. So is it all about the commitment?
I think by saying that it's lack of political will, I'm just being very, very simple. I'm just being very, very fair.
Are you economical with the truth of that?
I'm just very, I'm coming somewhere. I'm very, very fair to the government. If I was, set the narrative right, I would tell you, it tells you that our government is not running well. So how do you explain bad governance? Bad governance could be explained, when the needs of the people, is not prioritized. Bad governance could be explained when the country, is rich and the wealth does not translate in the standard of the living of the people. Bad governance could be explained with the statistics World Bank has brought to public space. Bad governance could explain, when UNICEF told us last year that about 2 million Nigerian children are suffering under severe acute malnutrition. And World Bank came up with another startling statistics that about 2 million Nigerian children who are already suffering from severe acute malnutrition are at the risk of death. So bad governance could be explained, when Nigerian children are facing malnutrition. Yes. The question is, where is the money invested in? So bad governance, creates a room, for the people who are leading us, to siphon our public fund. So I'm not putting the money into critical sectors that will uplift the living standard of the people, uplift the people leave them out of poverty, and create an enabling environment for the people to live life in fulfillment. Like I do tell you that section 14, subsection 2 guarantees, right, that the primary purpose of government is what? The security and the welfare of the people. So if the government is abdicating, if the government is refusing to apply itself to implementing the fundamentals of the Constitution, what is said? So that tells you that there's a deliberate attempt, right, not to focus attention on the needs of the people. And many years
Comrade Emeka, would that be fair to say? And the reason I'm saying, is it fair to say, is that you do know that this administration has acquired a whole lot of land, bought tractors, gave free fertilizers to farmers that are indeed changing the narrative. You agree with me also that the price of foodstuff has fallen in recent times, unlike it was in 2 months ago. The basic inflation indices seem to be falling by the day. So will it be fair to say that the government is putting up a blind eye as it concerns the issue of hunger and food crisis in Nigeria?
You see, you could be making a progress. Was it not in Glasgow that says that not all movement is progress? Right? McRae, look at this. This is movement, but it's going
in circle.
It's movement, is it not? It's not going forward. This is movement,
but it's going backward.
Yes. So not all movement is progress. What you have seen the government do over time is that the system must keep running.
Most certainly.
Yes, it must be sustained. The system must keep running. So the system must not be allowed to crash. So whatever impact they have made is quite insignificant. And that is not the impact we are clamoring. A people that are in life support, instead of giving them thorough medical attention, you are administering Panadol.
Oh, come on.
So I am only telling you, if the government is getting it right with their actions and policies, we shouldn't be seeing this data. And I want to tell you, the World Bank is even too sincere. The realistic on ground tells worse than what we are seeing. Because I am the president of the Talakabas in this country, I will tell you. So my constituents, I know what my constituents are going through. My career, Who told you the prices of food stuff has reduced? How much were we buying food, before the present government came on board? So if you want to go by the inflationary trend, nothing has actually happened. It's like when you were not say that Naira is appreciated. Most time, the first time, that I hadn't understood, the semantics or the nuances behind that statement. I thought, Ulrika, but you discover that Naira has gained 1.05. Is that an appreciation? That was a Naira that was at 134 before, jumped over the night to 1,000 something, and it is making 0.5. You say it is appreciation. So this is exactly what we're talking about. So not any pronouncement by the government, could be taken serious, because the facts that tells us that we are not ready yet to fix the problem. Nigerian children are hungry. You don't contest it. This data, like I tell you, they are very, 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 very sincere. You should tell you, if I should roll out my data, I don't think you'll be here talking about this discourse.
Okay, now talking about the data, in case you're watching and listening to us, it is Dialogue, and we're talking about those two recent reports coming from the Food Agriculture Organization and also the World Food Program, two major United Nations agencies, all cited in Italy, saying that it looks as if Nigerians will go hungry on account of not having enough this year. And they are also indicating that we seem to be on high alert as it concerns other major countries like Haiti, Mali, and Afghanistan, and even Myanmar, that are war-driven, that we are also in crisis as it concerns food. But that's not only the report that got our attention this week. Like I said, the World Bank also brought out its own, that have many questions than answers, especially as it's stated that about 44% of only the social intervention fund that this government brought out is only 44% that were able to reach the vulnerable Nigerians. And I have a report stated on that. And I'd like to just rather read it out so it doesn't do as if I am indeed adding petrol to fire or actually saying my own. Now, according to the report, it says upon Nigerians spending on social safety nets, assessing the coverage and efficiency has revealed how poor target, weak fund, and fragmented implementation have left millions of vulnerable citizens without meaningful relief, despite government lofty poverty reduction monies being pumped into it. Now, like I stated, only 44% of the benefit was able to reach those vulnerable Nigerians. So my question now is, where did the money go? And why? Why was it not able to deal with the issues it was intended to? Because I do know that in the last 2 years, I'm talking about beginning of 2024 and the first half of 2025, 330 billion naira have been earmarked for this social intervention net. And the government gave us that very, very statistics only recently. Still in my head. So where did the money go and why? I know they said fragmented implementation, but in your own honest assessment, what happened?
But I think, was it on this platform when I made a statement about the government intended policy as regards to this social intervention fund net? I said, first and foremost, they're saying that when you fail to plan, automatically you have planned to fail. This is a government that does not have data, of these Nigerians that actually, far more in need of this assistance. No data. So anything you are bringing, any policy you are implementing, without a thorough data, with which you could do that, that tells you the result, will be haphazardly implemented. So, and again, how many were being targeted, and how many, like I do tell you, how many were hungry, or that are hungry, and many have been targeted. So if you look at it, the government target then if I'm not mistaken, about 20 million. Right? The hungry Nigerians, is it not more than 20 million?
But we're talking about the
However,
vulnerable of the vulnerable.
The vulnerable of the vulnerable. All of us are vulnerable. My Craig, if we want to go by global standard, I will tell you that 80% of Nigerians are vulnerable. I am vulnerable. Because I know what I'm talking about. I am vulnerable. See, because when food has become a luxury in this country, food is luxury. People who could go to eateries, are people who work in oil companies. The average Nigerian man, you pay 70,000 naira, will he go to eatery? Where a plate of food is sold at 7,000 naira. So that means that 70,000 naira will get him 7 plates of food. For just 2-3 days, the money is expended. So all of us are vulnerable. The fact is that for the fact that, we are not shouting blue mother does not mean we are not feeling the pangs or the suffering. So the implementation will always be wrought with a lot of inadequacies because even the system itself, how clean is it? This is a country, that has become notorious, I'll use the word, with poor implementation of policies, where people who are found or who have been found diverting the system cannot be brought to book. So if there are no consequent management, to checkmate, overzealous actions or attitudes of people who are implementing policies, how far would you want the policies to go? So the issue is this. There's no transparency in policy implementation, right? So that I know from start that it will not result in anything good. It will still find bulk of that money will still find its way into the pockets of those who are implementing it, just as the Nigerian revenue is finding its way into pockets of people that you and I, have been asked to manage our resources. And that is the reason today Nigeria is so rich, but yet the people are very poor. Why? Is the money there? Why has our economy been nosediving? It's because we don't even have money, to invest. We don't even have money to run our economy because all the money that have been made over time. So where is the money? So we have strong individuals who are even richer than the government. And it will shock you to know that among the richest people in this country are found among the politicians. Politician has become a business to Nigerians where if you have opportunity, to contest it and you find yourself there either by hook or crook, automatically you're your money back. And the public, the government knows about that and nobody says anything.
Well, no, talking about knowing about that, we do know just last month, October to be precise, the EFCC came out to say they've had about 700 convictions and recovered about almost 500 billion naira proceed in the last 2 years as it concerns corruption. So won't you say more is also being done in that avenue?
If they are sincere, that 500 billion could be retrieved from just one corrupt politician. 500 billion. What is 500 billion? Take it from 1999 till now. Do you know, let me tell you, let me shock you. One very, exciting concept in governance to our politicians is how far, they can advance their ill-gotten wealth. Does it? Because if our leaders, our political leaders are concerned about the welfare of the people, check how many of them in the House of Assembly, Senate how many, House of Representatives how many, 350 something or thereabout, 360 thereabout. Okay, if they have been deliberate, talk about the governors, talk about the commissioners, talk about the ministers, about the welfare of the people. Each of them deliberate, consigned. Do you think we will be where we are? But the welfare of the people, does not cross their mind. So the average politician sees politics as business. If he gets there, it belongs to you and I, has found its way into their pockets. And today, Nigerian politicians, move about, like wealthy kings.
Demigods.
Yeah, demigods. And you can even see it in the manner they carry themselves. So that has become a system in this country because the government, the system itself condones it. So it's a systemic thing. So in a society where such has been elevated, you know, into the apogee of governance, the citizens are meant to suffer. Because that office is for those who are manning it to serve the people. It is more of a sacrificial calling. So it is not a place, you know, where you get rich. It's not a place where at the end of the day, you went there as an ordinary person. You are coming there as a bourgeois, as a money bag. And the system does not even query. And many of them, you know, exhibit this word in the open and nothing happens. So what do you expect? The citizens are meant to suffer because the money that is meant to uplift their well-being, you know, is being channeled into personal aggrandizement. So that's exactly what we are saying. So, my dear, you can't expect anything good, not until there's a change of attitude and the government is deliberate, people within governments are deliberate, you know, to deliver good governance and dividends for democracy. That is when you will see this narrative changing.
Okay, now, if you feel that is more of a problem and having the social intervention fund will not trickle down to the least of the vulnerable of the vulnerable, let's look at another major. So what now should be the way out? Like I stated, for 2 years now, the federal government said they've spent about 330 billion for 8 million vulnerable Nigerians, which you have said that they don't have clear data of even these vulnerable having to collect their money. Most of them don't even have bank accounts. Most of them are in the rural areas, as they claim. But my question, if the social intervention fund is doing little or nothing in helping to uplift the life of these persons, what approach should the government now take to balance the sheet and ensure Nigerians that are poor are also having their voice?
Michael, let me say here with all sincerity, these guys, they are more intelligent than me. They are more exposed than me. They are more traveled than me. They attended the best schools, Harvard, Oxford, just mention it, that I didn't even attend. And I'm not even, you know, aspiring to attend. So these guys are not dummies. These guys are not people, you know, who do not understand the mechanisms of governance. But it is a deliberate attempt because Nigeria is seen as a place where you just come and make money from politics. Are you not surprised that every now and then they are globetrotting? If they want to spend the holidays, are you not? Just monitor the trend. They are always going abroad. What are they going to do in abroad? On holidays. Do you know how much on each trip a civil servant is a civil servant, a public servant? How do you make the money? So the question, sir, is this. The Nigerian leaders are not conscious of governance. Their understanding of governance is toxic. So if governance could be defined in a Nigerian context, it is all about, you know, those within the governance taking all. The people's need, you know, is relegated to the background. Because if the people's need is given the due attention, we shouldn't be saying this. Nigeria is a very rich country, but the citizens are endemically poor, surprisingly poor, annoyingly poor. So what was the problem? Or what is the problem? Tells you that the money that is meant for the people, for good administration, find its way into the pockets of those you and I, in quotes, elected to drive governance. So there is nothing you will get out of a system like that. I have said it time without number. Not until these guys, you know, have changed their mindset and said, I am serious about governance. And that is where you begin to see this is falling in line. You don't need rocket science. Nigeria is blessed. Like I do tell people, I said this country doesn't have a problem. For instance, in agriculture, what is food crisis that we are facing? Nigeria has arable land. Nigeria has energetic youths. About 70% of Nigerian population is made up of youths. That alone, it is a resource that you could tap to better the welfare of the people and advance the growth of this country. But why are they not key into these opportunities? You are saying the president will come and tell you that he is investing into social, you know, intervention net or whatever. Is he deliberate about that? Is the president concerned? Is he pained that 2 million Nigerians are suffering from severe acute malnutrition? I wonder if Donald Trump, I wonder if such statistics, could be said about America. They will close White House. Americans will close White House. Donald Trump will say, America, here we come. We are going to feed this problem. And in the next 2 years, we are going to erase this data. Do you see the National Assembly discussing it? Does it come in front burner? Do they prioritize the issue? Or rather, they treat it with levity. So, when the governance...
But they said Nigeria should breathe.
They said Nigeria.
Yeah.
The breathing thing, we are so lucky that they don't have, rights over, that natural privilege God has given us. If the breathing should be given by them, life would have been snuffed out of all Nigerians.
Of course.
Because these guys do not have empathy. They do not have sympathy. If I reel out data, how this country has been variously, looted, you will sit here. That oil was struck in 1956 in Obiri till today. Do you know how many millions or billions of barrels that this country has sold? That has tricked into trillions of dollars. And today, look at our condition. There's no infrastructure. There's no education. There's no health facility. There's no school. There's no food. There's nothing. The only life you could see is the life that God has given the people. Ordinarily, the government is deliberate and desirous to sniff life out of the citizens. That is not governance. So, what you are seeing here, is another phase of governance that suits the Nigerian context, which cannot be brought or cannot be compared with what happened in civilized climes. So our Nigerian leaders, are waging what is called an economic war against the citizens. And that's exactly what it is.
Well, Comrade Emeka Wokocha, if you feel that's your ground,
yes.
We on Atlantic TV will definitely.
Yeah,
we are more like the devil's
advocate. It's my passionate opinion.
Yeah, we ask questions and we do not.
And the data speaks to that.
We do not.
It does. Where will they get that? Even in Afghanistan, it's not as worse as this. Even in Afghanistan, even in Croatia, in war-torn Croatia, the citizens are not being peppered, are not being subjected to severe poverty and hunger as it is in this country, where we are not fighting war, but we are fighting spiritual war.
Okay, well, anyway, before we bring down the Holy Ghost and also put pepper to where it pains us the most, I want you to quickly look at this. And what I want us to look at is now, what should be a quick intervention to deal with this? Because the World Bank has come out to say, well, they are also, rather, the World Food Program has come out to say they are also being hit with a whole lot of lack of funding. Monies that they would have needed to deal with this very present crisis in Nigeria and other high concerned countries would amount to almost $27.7 million. But they have little of that to go about dealing with the problem. So for you, what would be the quick way to fix this, to save the lives of these vulnerable Nigerians that the World Food Program are saying they are in high risk of going hungry and eventually malnutrition that might lead to deaths in itself? So for you, what should just be the quick fix on this?
If they would agree, just like India did,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
If they would agree, won't the government now come and, organize a food summit?
Okay.
The 36 state governors of this country, must be given a mandate to prioritize production of food.
Okay.
It is not treating this issue with levity. That is, let it be a critical sector that you must, galvanize every strength you have to ensure that food is produced within the locality and should be able to feed your citizens.
So it's more like a directive coming from the federal.
Directive coming from federal and domesticated.
By the state government.
Stamped as a law. And it's going to be the template, the yardstick upon which you will be evaluated in terms of how performing you are. So if the government could do this, and it takes a man that is concerned, that is, serious, about addressing the problem, to bring this suggestion or initiative on the board. But if the man is not convinced, He might just come out in the public and say something. But aside, behind there, he does what he likes. So the problem with our leader is not that they do not have the mental faculty or ability to drive policies. But they are not interested.
But what if they do have the mental ability to do all that, and the civil service, which is more like the backbone in making all of these work, seem to also sit behind and not live up to the pace of the executive? Naturally, it will not work.
What? The civil service? See, Mike, Ray,
we've seen policies that have been given, countless directives that have been given, that the civil servants seem not to want to even do anything about.
Yes. Mike Ray, I am so happy that Nigeria is not the only country existing in this world. And I'm sure that as Nigeria is not making progress, we can see countries making progress, vacating the third world club and progressing. We are seeing them. So, if Nigeria refuses and believes they cannot make progress, let Nigeria be there. What is a civil servant? Policies. And do you know within the civil service, if you see policies that drive it, you wonder. But when people do not have the will, the zeal to implement policies,
that's where the problem is.
That's where the problem is. And the government is condoning, the structure is condoning it. It's a systemic failure.
So if there are punitive measures being mentored down to those that are expected to drive these policies, a new narrative will be set.
Starting from the president.
Okay.
Trickle down to the National Assembly.
Okay.
Trickle down to the governors. Okay. See, if we have men that actually want to drive this country, that want to take the country to the promised land, within 10 years, this country, what we see, it is a revolutionary change. So, but the president, on his lies the head that wears the crown. That is understood. Yeah. But the clarion call, or the clarion cry, is for the president, to navigate this country to the promised land. So the president should be that man, who would wear the big stick when it is necessary. Yeah. Not this kind of party government. This is a country where laws don't work. It's a country where laws don't work. It's a country where we have strong individuals, who can
feel they are bigger than the
system. What are you talking about? They will just sit at one place and make a call. And that so people don't,
Okay, so like the call we saw between the FCT minister.
I was about to make a reference on that. Do you know what played out there?
Okay,
we
will not be calling anyone.
It's another showcase. It's another showcase, of the decay or the political and administrative system and the governance system of this country. So
I will not want to push you there, because if I push you there, we might not leave the show today. So and time is not a friend, Comrade Emeka Wokocha. My PD is already telling us we're really out of time. We'll be talking for close to an hour now. But I'm only happy that you've given us an insight of why we feel things are not working and what we need to do as a people to change the narrative. That the World Food Program is not narrating well. Rather, it's the World Bank telling us all is El Dorado yet. But I'll need to tell you now that we are truly appreciative of your time with us. And just like Oliver Twist, we'll be more than happy to bring you down here to talk passionately about the country you claim to be the target.
The presence of Alakawas.
Anyway.
They have nots.
Okay, they have nots. Anyway, if you feel you are part of the vulnerable, but I doubt that I can see your hand and shoes. But let's leave what I see. But thank you so much for being a part of the program, and we really appreciate your time with us.
Thank you. May God bless you guys for the wonderful intervention you guys are doing.
Thank you so much. Well, it's more like a wrap for us today on the show. You always know I will tell you to remember to go drop your comments, share, and like. And also, like I will always insist, let's hear from you. It's important we do so. We talked about what would have to do to change the narrative in the land, knowing that millions of Nigeria, on account of that very report from the World Food Program and the Food and Agriculture Organization, two United Nations food agencies, are saying that many Nigerians will definitely go hungry at the end of the year. And not only that, but also seeking or looking at what the World Bank said, that only 44% of the social intervention fund being pushed by this administration has been able to reach the vulnerable of the vulnerable. Well, anyway, let's get your reactions, comments, and all that you need to say about this on our different social media platforms, and be rest assured we'll definitely be taking them when it comes. But for me, I'll just say a quick bye-bye, but do not go anywhere because you do know definitely will trend later. Messi is already cooking up a very delicious deal as it concerns trending, and be rest assured the news will come around the hour. It's still Viewpoint on Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV, culturally inclined, uniquely different.
Wanna make love on the moon, dancing to my tunes. Is it too much? It's not too much. I wanna be on forces. If wishes were horses, is it too much? It's not too much. If I'm all vanity, what do I got? I got to say. If I'm all vanity, I'm all by my shoulder. I'm all by my foot. I'm all vanity. How many billionaires in the building? I wanna be a billionaire. I can't hear you. Billionaire.
Yeah, why you come there shake your bum bum? When you know say you know get the bum bum. Hey, oh yeah, shake the bum bum.
Where is my Johnny? Johnny boy, hey, do you know Johnny? Question. Oh, if I don't see my Johnny, shout, flip again, hey. For my Johnny, I'm looking for my honey. Telling me this, telling me that. I say this is not for me. Johnny do me honey.
Don't take it right to never. If they want try to stand up, make them no go forget. They don't want you to guide, Jesus Christ, love our people.
Enemy for use me the neighbor. 1, 2, 3, go!
Of Kings and the Lord of Lords, the one that kept you and I alive. And I equally want to say thank you for Coral Care Foundation. Please let's celebrate them. Then most importantly, celebrate yourself. If you don't celebrate yourself, nobody will celebrate you. It's a privilege being here. I'm here by the grace of God and by His mercies. Now I want to say this to us. As children, we are supposed to be world changers. We are supposed to change our world. But there's a great saying by a great man. He says, if you want to change the world, the first thing you do is make up your bed when you wake up in the morning. Now I want to ask us, how many of us made our bed when we woke up this morning? I doubt. You want to change the world, the first thing you do is change your bed when you wake up in the morning. So say to yourself, I will make my bed tomorrow when I wake up. I like inspiring stories, just like the one our sister, Ogene Tejiri, rightly gave. Please, let's celebrate grace upon our life. God is taking you higher. Beyond limits, unlocking the potentials of the warrior child. While I was growing up, my mom and my dad, they were from the Anglican. And in the Anglican, they do what is called confirmation. I don't know how many of us know about that. When you give birth to a child, you do what is called confirmation. And during the confirmation, you give the child a name. And so the name they chose for me was John. And I loved it. I said, John, wow, that's beloved of Jesus. Be very dear to Jesus. But I think somewhere along the line, my mom looked at the Bible again and she saw that John's head was cut off. She saw John the Baptist, not John the Beloved. And she said, no, I don't want my son's head to be cut off. And so she changed the name at the dying minute from John to Moses. And one thing she forgot was that Moses did not enter the promised land. I will enter my promised land. Say to yourself, I will enter promised land. Yes, it's by grace. As the name Moses implied. If you study your Bible very well, you will see that Moses died and almost did not enter heaven because Satan stood to accuse him. I died once, I didn't make it to heaven. Jesus gave me a second chance. And that second chance is why I'm here to tell you. And what you need to make it, God will give to you today in the name of Jesus. Unlocking the potentials of the warrior child. Inspiring growth, excellence, and purpose. Introduction, overview of warriors' unique identity and youth culture, the challenges, hidden strengths, and warrior child, and beyond limit breaking mental, social, and economic barriers. Quickly, next slide. Now, you can see the overview of the warrior's identity and youth. A warrior, the city is in Niger Delta region of Nigeria and has a unique identity, vibrant youth, and we have what is called their cultural heritage, language, unique, fashion, just like what we saw our wonderful mommy and sister rightly displayed. You can imagine, in fact, you are going around the world. Challenges and opportunity overall. Warrior's unique identity and youth culture are shaped by its history, culture, and resilience. The city's young people are driving forces behind its growth, creativity, and progress. And I tell you, you are going to turn the world around. Next slide, please. Now, you can see there's what is called the spirit of resilience and creativity in the warrior child, high exposure to street realities and survival instincts. These have made a lot of children from warrior to become noted. There's something I used to say. They say warrior they know they carry. I say, but why they know they carry first? It's not good to say they carry last, but you must carry first. Say, I will carry first. Potentials for innovation, leadership, and transformation. Next slide quickly. The current challenges, poor educational infrastructure, which is changing with the current things the government is giving. In fact, I want to salute Coral Care Foundation again, and I know they are being supported by the government. Please, let's clap together. Let's clap our hands together for what they are doing. And we know that the narratives will change. Peer pressure and cult influence, just like you saw NDLEA. They talked about drug, and this has to do with peer pressure, cult influence. Now, what is reigning in the society now? Can anybody tell me? Oh, somebody has said it. I didn't say it from my mouth. Oh, you were the ones that said it. That is what is plus. That's what we are seeing now. People using their own parents for rituals. You can imagine a brother using the sister for rituals because of money. At the end, what will happen? All is vanity. limited mentorship and positive role models, economic hardship and unemployment are part of the challenges, family instability and lack of guidance. Next slide. Now, the natural intelligence and creativity. You know, we have these untapped potentials. The natural intelligence and creativity, sports and entertainment talent, leadership and community influence, technological and adaptability, and problem-solving skills. Listen, there are so many innovations that have been made by people from this climb. And I know that we have intellectuals among us that will make Nigeria proud. Do I hear we echo amen? Unlocking the potentials. We have the educational reform, skills development, mentorship and role modeling, pre-entrepreneurship, innovation hubs, faith and moral reorientation. Faith and moral reorientation. Very, very important. And I will share a story at the end. Government and NGO partnership. Next slide. Next slide quickly. Now, the role of parents and guardians. They have roles to play. Just like our wonderful mommy and sister rightly said, her mom played a vital role in shaping our future. And you can see that our life is becoming better for this. So they have a place in the early character building, encouraging curiosity and learning, providing emotional support and moral guidance. Next slide, quickly. The roles of the schools and teachers, they have their own points to play. So teachers too have very important roles to play. Quickly, let's move on to the next slide. Now, the role of community leaders, creating safe spaces for youth, investing in youth centers, digital training, just like what Coral Foundation is doing, encouraging peace, unity, and volunteerism. Next slide. Now, these success stories from Warri Child. How many of us know this young girl, Adego Success? How many of us know her? She's this social media, the content, you can see, went viral from being sent home from school due to unpaid school fees. The parents could not pay her school fees. She was sent home. But despite promises of help, she claimed they weren't fulfilled. However, she's been featured in a Nollywood movie and continues to pursue her dreams. She pursued her dream. Say, I can. Yes, I can. You have a future. You have a role to play. Don't allow drugs to destroy the future that God has given to you. Listen, you have a promising future. If our mommy and sister here can fulfill purpose and destiny, you have no reason to fail. You have all been created with a unique identity. God gave each and every one of us DNA. Even twins don't have the same what? They don't have the same DNA. You were fearfully and wonderfully. Say, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. So next time, just like, our anchor rightly said, and somebody says, you are too tall or you are too short, just tell them I'm the right. God put me in consideration when he was making me. And so, no one can be you. You are who God says you are. Next slide. Most importantly, heroes are made. They are not born. Nobody was born an hero. The only one that came from heaven to save us as the hero was Christ when he was given birth to. He was given birth to because his birth was divine, not ordinary. Heroes are made. Everyone that came here on earth became an hero. And you will become an hero too. So beyond the limit model, STEP vision pathway, we have one to discover our identity, purpose, and gift, develop skills and character and knowledge, deploy impact, innovation, and leadership. Next slide. Call to action. Let's say it together. Let's build the next generation of purpose-driven worry children. Community collaboration initiatives, mentorship, volunteer call. All lies on our shoulder. Next slide. Conclusion. Every worry child is a seed of. So I am a seed of. Together we can unlock potentials beyond limits. Now listen. I promised I was going to tell you a story so that we can conclude. You know, you saw the slide that I showed. Faith, moral has a lot to do. You know, the reason why we have moral decadence in our society is because truly a lot of people have lost their fear for God. In fact, many of us, we see God as our mate. True of us. The only time we go to God is when we want to ask. And we command God as if he's at our beck and call. Like some of us command the stewards that our parents employ for us. It's lack of respect. Respect is reciprocal. As children that we are, we need to have the fear of God, and we need to love our neighbors as ourselves. I told you, I died. I'm not a ghost. Ghosts don't carry a microphone. Only in Nigerian movies. And they don't walk about. God gave me a second chance. They were rightly talking about drugs, how they can affect our organs. And that's just the truth. When I died, I didn't make it to heaven. I was an assistant pastor. And so, you know, being a pastor does not qualify you to make heaven. But I told you something. My mom changed my name to Moses. And lately, I discovered that in Romans chapter 9 and verse 15, God said to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I choose to have mercy. And I said, God, was this why you showed me mercy? Because I know if anyone dies and he goes to hell, there is no second chance in hell. If you don't believe me, ask the rich man in Luke chapter 16. But God gave me a second chance so that I could let everyone know that truly there is heaven and there is hell. Children, we have destiny to fulfill. After we fulfill purpose and destiny here on earth, we will all go and stand before God, the righteous judge, the one that will ask us, how did you live your life? When you stand before him, how are you going to tell him you lived your life? You lived it for your own pleasure or to impact your generation. Worry child. Listen, I've studied something. In America, you hardly hear people say, I am from so local government, I'm from so state. All you hear is, I am American. When an American stands in front of the embassy and he says, I am an American, the embassy door is open. But in Nigeria here, we dwell more on culture. We dwell more on local government. We keep carrying local government origin and everything. What should suffice for us as a nation is that I am Nigerian. And that should open doors for us. I want to say to us as worry children that let us leave an indelible mark, indelible landmark for others to emulate. Let them see Coral Care Foundation driving the force of worry children beyond Delta states and propelling our destiny to generation untold. As a worry child, which begins with you and I, we can do exploits together. Thank you very much.
Atlantic Media and TV Group.
I must say that I'm very delighted to be here this morning. As a teacher and lecturer, this is the best audience that I can ever have. So, you're welcome. Listen attentively. Keynote address presented by Dickness Florence Owerri-Awose, Senior Lecturer, College of Education, Warri, on the occasion of a one-day seminar for senior secondary school students on career choices organized by the Korake Foundation, Warri, on Friday, the 24th of October, 2025, at Brown Hill Coliseum. Protocols. Your Royal Majesties, the traditional rulers of Warri and its environs, esteemed leaders who stand as the unifying fathers of this great region, distinguished government functionaries and representatives, venerable chiefs, respected leaders, educators from around the state, school heads and principals, the Korake Foundation, and my brilliant visionary youths of the Warri region. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to this special occasion. This seminar is primarily for the youths and secondary school students here present. Therefore, my use of the word youth throughout this address should be seen as all-encompassing. Introduction. We stand together today, October 24, 2025, united under the watchful eyes of our revered traditional institution. This gathering is rooted in wisdom and driven by the collective desire of the progressive Korake Foundation to reignite every Warri child to rise up and reclaim their place of glory. The theme of our seminar today, Beyond Limits, Unlocking the Potential of the Warri Child, is a powerful declaration that the potential of the Warri child is truly boundless. My definition of the Warri child in this paper is not confined only to children who are indigenes by birth, but to all who grew up in Warri, whether they are indigenes of Warri by heritage or by residence. This fact is buttressed by the claims of those who grew up here, but not necessarily indigenes of the geographical Warri, but see and identify themselves proudly as Warri boys and Warri girls, as the case may be. I am a good example of this definition. I can proudly say I was not born in Warri, but I came into Warri when I was 2. My parents came in here when I was 2. That makes me a true Warri girl. Even the audience before me right now may not necessarily be all Warri by birth, yet they are here today to identify with Warri. This speaks volumes about the reputation that Warri used to enjoy in the 1970s and 80s when it flourished as a vibrant and prosperous city, a status that inspired residents to proudly wear the toga, "I am a Warri boy" or Warri girl. But sadly, that collective exaltation has been severely eroded by the downturn of the city's socio-economic fortunes, occasioned by the absence of peace and vibrant economy. Warri and the cost of division, learning from history. As Chinua Achebe puts it, if a man does not remember where the rain began to beat him, he will not know where to dry his wet clothes. It is therefore pertinent that we confront the painful chapter of our history. About 25 years ago, internal fratricidal conflicts engulfed Warri and its environs. This division led to a devastating outcome: the loss of lives and properties, the destruction of infrastructure, and critically, the relocation of companies and servicing firms from Warri and its environs. This relocation stripped our region of its primary economic engine leaving us with the joblessness and hardship we confront today. This history offers a profound and undeniable lesson that strife and division are the greatest threats to our collective prosperity. The foundation of our economic strength lies not in the oil beneath our land, but in the peace and unity among our people. We in Warri have paid the price for internal conflict. Today, our foremost priority for renewal is a permanent and non-negotiable commitment to the peaceful and shared identity of the Warri region. Peace and unity are essential for the growth and development of Warri. By embracing alternative dispute resolution methods, fostering a culture of tolerance and acceptance, and promoting inclusive governance, the region can overcome its challenges and unlock its full potentials. Reigniting hope, the new pillars of prosperity. Hope is not a promise of outside help. It is the plan we must execute ourselves. And I want every one of us to note that specifically. The hope that Warri will be great again lies in the action that we, if I'm permitted to say Wafarians, the actions that we take. Our destiny is not to wait for the oil companies to return, but to build a modern economy. An economy so vibrant that it will thrive regardless of external factors. Our focus must shift from the extraction economy, which is oil, to the intellectual and creative economy, which is professionalism, talent, and innovation. Hope can be a powerful catalyst for progress, but it is the actions that we, you sitting there, as youths, students, and collectively as indigenes and residents of Warri, it is the actions that we take that will ultimately drive development and make Warri great again. According to His Royal Highness, the Olu of Warri, Ogiame Atuwashe III, hope drives societal progress and innovations, discoveries, and social change often emerge from the belief that a better world is possible. So I urge all Warri youth today to hope for a better tomorrow by being optimistic that a prosperous Warri is ahead of us. Can we say amen to that? Amen. It is this hope and belief for a better future that can motivate you to work towards a positive change. Changing the status quo in Warri, reclaiming our prosperity. Everybody say reclaiming our prosperity. Reclaiming our prosperity. To achieve the much needed change in Warri, all hands must be on deck to engineer innovative solutions, collaborate across sectors, and drive sustainable development that will benefit every youth, students, and the region at large. Beyond limits typically means exceeding the boundary or threshold that the Warri environment has imposed on the Warri child, like ethnic clashes and
I am Michael Gabadia. Here are our top stories. Federal government halts plan 15% import duty on petrol and diesel. Wike fires back. I respect institutions, but the right thing must be done. Tinubu halt sale of farm properties nationwide. And on the foreign scene, Trump signs spending bills and longest U.S. shutdown in history. And talking sports, Super Eagles edge Gabon to stay alive in 2026 World Cup race. Now to the news in full. The federal government has suspended the planned implementation of the 15% import duty on premium motor spirit and automotive gas oil, popularly known as petrol and diesel. According to the Director of Public Affairs at the NMDPRA, George Ineta, the move is aimed to stabilizing the petrol supply chain and ensuring that fuel prices remain within reasonable levels nationwide. The authority assured Nigerians of adequate product availability during the peak demand season, sourced from local refineries and import. It also warned against panic buying, hoarding, or artificial price hike by marketers. Earlier report had indicated that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu approved a 15% add-up import duty on petrol and diesel, a move that had been suspended following industry consultation. The NMDPRA reaffirmed its commitment to maintaining energy security and ensuring uninterrupted fuel distribution across the country. With this latest directive, fuel price is expected to remain stable as the government moves to protect consumers and sustain national supply. The Nigerian midstream and downstream petroleum regulatory authorities made this known in a statement on Thursday, saying the policy is no longer in view. In Delta State Governor Sheriff Oboriwori has inaugurated the newly completed Odimodi, Okuta, Ugala Road in Borutu local government area, reaffirming his administration commitment to equitable development across riverine and upland communities. Commissioner for Works, Rural Roads and Information Charles Anyawu said the road reflects the governor's love for riverine areas, explaining it features expanded drainage system, flood-resilient culverts and pavement, weight ranging between 6.5 and 10 meters. Chairman of Borutu local government, Julius Akeme, thanked the governor for ongoing projects in the area, including the Kiagbodo Technical College and the Ayakoromo Bridge, and plead for the construction of a direct access road to Borutu town, which is described as the only local government headquarters in Nigeria without a road link. Also speaking, Borutu-born lawmaker Julius Pondi assured the governor of the constituency's unwavering support, declaring that Borutu does not speak with the microphone, we speak with results. In his goodwill message, chairman of the community, Bright Gowa, said the new road goes beyond physical connectivity, calling it a symbol of unity, progress, and improved quality of life for the people. The governor was joined by top government officials and community leaders who described the project as a symbol of unity and progress for the people of Borutu. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has defended his action during a recent confrontation with a naval officer in Abuja, insisting he acted lawfully and in defense of government officials carrying out their duties. The minister spoke on Thursday, explaining that the dispute-led land in the Gadowa district was illegally allocated, or rather legally allocated, to a private company, not the military, and that any contrary claims were misleading. He recalled how respected national figures, including former President Olusegun Obasanjo and General T.Y. Danjuma, had already handled such matters with civility and proper communication. Citing them as an example of institutional respect, Wike maintained that the issue was not a military versus government conflict, but a case of an individual acting outside the law. The clash which took place on Tuesday between the minister and the naval officer identified as Lieutenant Yerima was captured in a viral video that sparked widespread debate over the limit of the ministerial authorities and military involvement in civil affairs. While some critics accused Wike of overstepping his bound, others backed his insistence that due process must prevail. As reactions continue to trail the incident, Wike says he remains committed to enforcing the law without fear or favor.
These are people who, they're all retired generals. These are people with constant discipline. They didn't bother because they were former chief of officer. They were former president. They never sent soldiers. They never sent anybody to go and attack anybody. They just call you. And respect the gas, respect. Have to respect. And I'll tell them, sir, don't worry. I'll sort out the problem. And I will do. I won't even talk about other people who are highly placed. They will come to you. Mr. Minister, maybe we didn't know of this. If we knew, we would have done it like this. When a serving Major General attacked the development control, I wrote a letter. The President Chief of Defense Staff was Chief of Army Staff then.
Wike, reacting to widespread criticism, said his decision was not about challenging the military, but about protecting institutional authority and upholding the rule of law, stressing that no one is above accountability. Away from that, the House of Representatives has called on the Federal Ministry of Education and the West African Examination Council to suspend plans to introduce computer-based testing for secondary school students starting in 2026. Nwogu drew attention to recent glitches on the WAEC 2025 result checking portal, describing them as clear warning signs that the examination body lacks the required technological capacity for a full computer-based system. The House also debated the poor sanitary conditions across part of the Federal Capital Territory and raised alarm over rising insecurity caused by non-functional streetlights in Abuja and environs. Another committee was subsequently set up to investigate waste management lapses and the state of public infrastructure in the FCT, with recommendation expected from both legislative and executive action. For now, WAEC plan to do digital, or rather go digital, in 2026 faces major scrutiny from lawmakers who insist that readiness, not speed, should drive the nation's education reforms. Lawmakers said the country is not yet ready for such a transition, citing technical failures and poor infrastructure as major concerns. The resolution followed a motion of urgent public importance raised by Representative Kelechi Nwogu on the floor of the House. We need to go on a break now, and when we come back, more news across Nigeria as well as business, sport, and foreign news. Join us again.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
Welcome back now to the rest of the news. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has ordered the exclusion of all properties belonging to the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria FAN from the ongoing sale of government assets to private individuals. The directive, followed by the Federal Executive Council, follows years of ownership disputes involving airport quarters in cities like Kano and Lagos. The affected properties were initially marked for disposal by the Presidential Committee set up during the Obasanjo administration. Keyamo explained that several individuals had claimed ownership of farm quarters under previous arrangements, but the new order nullified those sales. It made it clear that all farm properties across the country are now officially exempt from sale. The ministry reaffirmed that the directive appeals nationwide and applies, and warned all private individuals occupying farm quarters to vacate as the government prioritizes safety and operational efficiency in the aviation sector. Aviation and Aerospace Development Minister Festus Keyamo says the decision ensures that critical aviation staff, including air traffic controllers, firefighters, and security officers, remain housed within the airport premises for emergency operation. I described the exclusion as a move to safeguard aviation safety and restore order to government property management. The federal government has raised alarm that Nigerians' booming appetite for pomo, the popular cowhide delicacy, is crippling the nation's about $5 billion leather industry. Ike Muso explained that Nigerian leather goods market, currently worth about $2.79 billion United States dollars, could grow to nearly $5 billion by 2033. But only its hides and skins are used for production and not cooking. He clarified that the campaign tagged "Wear, Not Eat Your Leather" isn't about banning tradition, but about protecting an industry that could rival oil in export revenue. The DG also sounded a health warning, saying most hides sold as pomo are treated with dangerous chemicals like formalin and diesel, posing serious risks such as organ damage and also cancer. He maintained that pomo offers little nutritional value and urged Nigerians to cancel cowhides into industrial use for greater national benefits. The Nigerian leather sector is ranked among Africa's most promising, but officials say unchecked pomo consumption could derail its potential as a top non-oil revenue source. At a national campaign against pomo consumption in Abuja, the Director General of the Raw Material Research and Development Council, Professor Ike Muso, warned that diverting hides meant for leather manufacturing is costing the country job, foreign exchange, and industrial growth. Away from that to the foreign scene, after 43 days of paralyzing government shutdown, President Donald Trump has signed a short-term spending bill to reopen federal agencies and restore normal operation across the United States. In the Oval Office, President Trump acknowledged the toll the shutdown had, saying people were hurt so badly. The shutdown, the longest in U.S. history, disrupted air travel, halted food and programs, and froze multiple government services. The Federal Aviation Administration had been forced to cut air traffic operations due to staffing shortages, while thousands of federal employees either worked without pay or were furloughed. With the president's signature, services are expected to resume in the coming days, bringing long-awaited relief ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday. For millions of Americans and federal workers, the end of the shutdown marks a return to normalcy, at least for now, as Washington prepares for another round of budget negotiation in the weeks ahead. The bill was passed, or rather, which passed the House of Representatives by 222 to 209 votes, followed a narrow approval by the Senate earlier in the week, finally ending the deadlock that left over 1 million federal workers unpaid. Still on the foreign scene in Washington, President Donald Trump is celebrating what he calls a major victory after Democrats face public backlash for the end of the 43-day government shutdown, the longest in U.S. history. Federal employees are returning to work, airports are back to full operation, and national parks are reopening. But political analysts said the cause have been enormous, billions lost in productivity, shaking public confidence, and deepening partisan divide. Senate Democrats has initially forced the shutdown, demanding an extension of health insurance subsidies for low-income Americans. However, when a few Democrats broke ranks to vote for reopening the government, they gained little beyond a promise of a future Senate vote with no guarantees of Republican backing. The White House, meanwhile, hailed the outcome as a win for the president, accusing Democrats of playing politics with people's paycheck. With the shutdown over, attention now turns to whether both parties can bridge the divide, or if America is headed for yet another budget showdown before the year ends. The shutdown, which paralyzed federal services and left hundreds of thousands of workers unpaid, officially ended after Trump signed a temporary funding bill restoring operation across the country. Talking sport, Nigerian Super Eagles have kept their 2022 FIFA World Cup hopes alive with a thrilling 4-1 victory over Gabon after extra time in Rabat, Morocco. It was a dramatic night under the rain in Rabat as Akon Adams opened his scoring for Nigeria after pouncing on a defense error in the 78th minute. But Gabon, Mario Limina, stunned the Eagles with a 89th minute equalizer, forcing extra time. The Super Eagles responded with class. Ejike fired Nigeria ahead before Sime redeemed himself with a brace, tearing off his protective marks in jubilation. The Galatasaray forward doubled and ensured Nigerian schools to a 4-1 win, keeping alive their dream of returning to the World Cup after missing Qatar 2022. The Super Eagles will now battle either Cameroon or the Super Eagles will now battle Democratic Republic of Congo in a Sunday's final playoff at 7 p.m. GMT with a ticket to next year's World Cup Intercontinental Qualifiers on the line. Goals from Chidera Ejuke and Victor Osimhen sealed the win as the Super Eagles advance to the final round of African playoff, where they will definitely face Democratic Republic of Congo, who defeated Cameroon 1-0 for a place in the global showcase. The Nigerian Aquatic Federation has partnered with the Nigerian University Games Association, NOGA, to identify and develop the next generation of swimming stars across the country. At the swimming event jointly organized by NOGA and the Aquatic Federation, Chamberlain commended the university body for advancing competitive sports among students and described the partnership as a strategic move to rebuild Nigeria's aquatic sport base and unlock future Olympic prospects. The association president noted that swimming remains one of Nigeria's most rewarding medal sports, urging greater investment to sustain momentum. He added that the joint initiative will create a clear pathway for young university swimmers to rise from campus competition to international competition. With a growing pool of young athletes emerging from the games, both NOGA and Aquatic Federation say Nigerian dream of producing world-class swimmers is now within reach. Federation President Chamberlain announced the partnership during the 27th Nigerian University Games in Jos, saying the collaboration is already producing promising young talent with medal-winning potentials. And that very sporting news brings us to the end of the news right here on Atlantic TV. I will always insist, if you have any news, what you report that you feel we can bring, do well to reach us on our different social media platforms. I'll be more than happy to have them here. I still remain Michael Gobadia. Bye for now.
When the lights go out, who do you call? Tikado! Tikado Energy Solutions Limited, your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Tikado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Tikado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at tikado.com.ng. Tikado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace. Atlantic TV, culturally inclined and uniquely different.
welcome back. If you're just joining, it's Trending O'Clock. You know how we do it right here. We'll talk about all the trending and juicy gist on the internet and, of course, give our opinions about them. I am Mercy Erabo, and you know I can never be alone in the studio once it's trending. Who is joining us today? Mr. Michael Gubadia. Mr. Michael, thank you for always joining me on Trending.
It's always a honor being a part of it, especially when it's a weekend edition.
Weekend edition of Trending. So without wasting time, let's just take our top story for today. And our top story has shaken Nigerians across social media. It's a story of alleged injustice, abuse of power, and a cry for help from a woman who has served her country for 13 years. A female Nigerian soldier is crying out for help after allegedly being denied her benefits despite serving 13 years in the army. She claims she's been punished because she refused sexual advances from senior officers. According to her, she's been thrown into Gadrum several times without reason, denied food, and left her 3-year-old child stranded. Well, let's see the footage.
But since I joined the army, I've not had peace of mind. The officers kept frustrating my life. This video I'm making today, I know that if you see the light of the day, they might tag me mental unstable or bipolar. But I'm pleading for help. And even I have contacts, or I've been sleeping around the way officers want me to be sleeping with them. They wouldn't have been doing all the things they've been doing to me. Because of the frustration in Nigerian army, I left. My voluntary discharge came out on July. I have discharged. And yet, the officers did not leave me alone. They kept threatening my life. They locked me up with my 2-year-old child, who is now 3 years, locked me in the guard room, gave an order for a private soldier to assault me and my child. After assaulting me, they still charged me for the same assault, laying series of accusations on me that I threatened a senior officer, that I was the one that assaulted a private soldier, and then I escaped confinement. After doing all these things, they locked me again 7 days, denying me access of my child without me knowing where my baby is. After that, they removed my rank. They ranked me from corporal to last corporal. And then, when I was crying and lamenting how the private soldier assaulted me and threatened me that he was working under the order of Lieutenant Colonel Sarema and Lieutenant Colonel Nkanan, that he was acting based on order. This boy assaulted me. They still derank me, charging me for the assault. They rank me from corporal to last corporal, and then after that, I'm done being strong.
This is a very sad and disheartening footage to watch. Well, she's crying out to Nigerians to help her get all the justice she wants. And this video has since gone viral and has sparked outrage nationwide. People are calling out for justice, for investigations and accountability. But now I'm asking, why do women have to go through this? Yes, even aside the military sector, when a woman is in an organization, the senior officers, the people in the higher positions and all of that want to have a sexual relationship with her, and once she doesn't accept all of that, and then she has to face some sort of assault or different things that just come, and it's not really nice. Why do women have to go through this all the time? This is a very disheartening video. I could not even finish watching it because it's very sad seeing my fellow woman crying because of all the things she's going through, and it's very relatable because we see all of these things happening in the society where we find ourselves today. So the women are not safe. I think it's high time we start doing justice for women. Mr.
Well,
Michael.
the honest truth is it's quite a disturbing video, and weighty allegations were being levied by her. And all I would say is that the needed authorities should swing to the issue and see how they can really get justice for her. Denial will not be the way to go. Pure investigation will be the only way to diffuse the mind of many Nigerians who feel that she was cheated in every way, I will just plead with the needed investigative authorities of the Nigerian Army to swing into action and get all of these allegations being investigated, so at the end justice will be seen to be served, and the great reputation of the Nigerian military would also be upheld on account of it.
Yeah, I hope she gets all the justice that she wants. I really hope that thorough investigations are carried out. Yeah, they need to do all of the investigations, and then she gets all the justice she wants, because for a woman to just come out, set her cameras, and then crying like this, you know that it's something really touchy. It's something that she cannot control again. So I hope she gets all the justice that she wants. Well, this is a developing story, and once we get more updates, we'll definitely bring them to you. So away from that, the father of the late Deborah, whose tragic death went viral some time ago, is crying out that justice is yet to be served. Remember, Deborah Okori was allegedly stabbed 21 times by her ex-boyfriend on September 3rd. The suspect disguised himself as a dispatch rider to gain access to her estate before attacking her. Deborah had ended a relationship a year earlier because it was violent and toxic. Now her father is describing the incident as a devastating loss and is calling on authorities to ensure that justice is served. Yeah, we did this story some time ago when the incident occurred, and up till now we've not heard anything about this case. We hope it's not one of those cases that would just be swept under the rug. We really need justice and transparency. We want to see all of the processes. We want to see all of those things going on. She deserves the justice, and she should get justice, Mr. Michael.
Well, anyway, it looks as if trending today we are seeking for nothing but justice.
Justice, yeah.
And justice being meted out to the female folks. And, you know, we need more to be said about this very case. When it first came to light, many Nigerians were really crying out loud to ensure justice. But just like the Nigerian narrative, after a few months or few weeks, everything will just naturally have a permanent death. We're not hoping that this will be one of those cases that will be swept under the rug, but the needed authorities should ensure that justice is being seen to be done, especially as concerns the family of Deborah. It was indeed a nasty one, a tale of some persons not letting it go. If there's a breakdown of relationship, move on and get something else. Sometimes many persons would say a broken or a failed relationship is better than a broken marriage. So please, if she doesn't want anymore, it is not by force. Come on. There are other women out there. Why not get your own rib and move on with life? But rather than having to take her life on account that says she doesn't need. And now the parents saying justice has not been served. Please, this should not be the narrative in Nigeria. We do not need this.
And this is why I feel so many persons, when they are in abusive relationship, they get scared out to leave because
they
of
don't know
things
the
like
outcome.
this. Exactly. She was in a toxic relationship and then she left. And this relationship is not supposed to be a do or die affair. Once it's not working, everybody should just move on. Life goes on, and then you don't need to kill anybody for that. Well, this is a developing story. We're still waiting to get more updates concerning the story, and once we get to, definitely bring them to you, and justice must be served. So away from that, let's go to some celebrity gossips, so it doesn't look like we're just fighting for justice on trending today. Yes, I think we've been seeing some controversies brewing in around Senator Ned Nwoko and Regina Daniels. Yeah, so Senator has denied marrying Regina. Recall that Regina came out to say she was 17 when Senator married her. But now Senator is saying he never married her at 17, that he would never marry a teenager, that he even asked for a valid ID, and Regina Daniels presented him with a voter's card that showed that she was born on the 10th of October 1998. But in a clapback and response to that, Regina Daniels came out to say, no, I was not born in 1998. This is my valid ID card. She brought out a passport, yeah, and we can see 10th of October 2001, stating the fact that she was a teen when she got married. So now we're asking, who is lying? Because I don't understand this. Ned is bringing out a voter's card, which is a valid ID, and now she's bringing a passport, which is also a valid ID, showing that she was a teen, but Ned is saying she was 19, she was born 1998. Now, where is the lie? I'm still trying to figure out who is lying among these two persons, Mr. Michael?
Well, anyways, Ned has come out to show us his own part of the story. And if you look at that very voter's card, it's really old and backdated. And I don't know, it doesn't even sound right that a mother of a teen will allow such a man to marry the daughter at that very young age. So I'm surprised that the mother has not come out, because she needs to come, herself and the husband needs to come and answer questions on account of letting a 17-year-old girl marry an adult. Yeah, we've not heard from their side. Let's know how old she was, because the parents were the ones that gave the consent. So let's understand that it's not just Ned and Regina coming out to say, oh, I was 18, no, I was 17. Some will later say she was 16. The parents should come out and tell us, how old was your child when you gave her hand out in marriage? Let's understand all of that.
My
That's what we
question now is, Senator Ned, you're claiming you don't know her age, but you've been traveling, catching flights and all of that, and she's been with this passport of 2001. So now you're coming out to say she's not 2001. I want to understand all of these things. So did she lie to you that it was error from registration or whatever? I want to know all of these things. We want to know. We just don't want to see pictures flying here and there. We want to know. We want you to come out to explain to us how she has been using this passport for years and you've not seen that date of birth attached, 2001. We want to know all of these things. Well, still talking about the drama and the saga in the Regina Daniels and Ned Nwoko. Well, Senator Ned Nwoko's wife, Leila, came out to say now that Regina Daniels claimed she received money from her, that no, she never received money from her. She also alleges that Regina introduced her to drugs 6 years ago, adding another shocking twist to the ongoing controversy. Well, maybe if this had come a bit earlier, maybe last week, we would have just said, okay, but now she's saying, just imagine, how dare you say that you ever gave me money? I am very contented on my husband. But I don't know why this thing is screaming some other handwritings to me, but let's believe she actually did it. But she's coming out to say Regina Daniels is a drug addict. She introduced her to drug and she almost lost her home because of drug. And that the issue between Regina Daniels and Ned Nwoko is still all about this drug, because she doesn't want to stop it. She doesn't want to go to rehab and all of that. So that is what Leila is coming out to say. And she said she prefers her peace. She doesn't want anything to trouble her. She doesn't want all of these things.
That's a lot. That's a
lot. That's a lot. And she came out with some allegations, accusations, and all of that I don't want to go into because it's huge accusations. Yeah. So she's coming out to say she needs her peace, and that's what she has always wanted, to make sure the family is peaceful, to make sure there's love and all of that. But she said since Regina Daniels came in, it's been one problem to the other, and now that she doesn't want her family outside, but now her family is outside. Everybody knows everything going on in her home, and all thanks to Regina Daniels. So this is coming from Leila, the wife of Senator Ned Nwoko, Mr. Michael.
Well, you know, when you make your marriage public, it will go public.
Yeah, sure.
Questions will be asked. We'll be hearing back and forth, yes, you are wrong, no, you're not. And you know, this is why they keep advising couples, when you have issues, please do not bring them to the pages of the social media. Keep them contained within that space of a family setting. All I know is we've not seen the last of this, and more developing stories on account of the messy relationship between Ned Nwoko and his, I'll not call it estranged wife for now, Regina Daniels. Will definitely see it take center stage come next week, when we have more and interesting information concerning the messy relationship that seems to be.
So the last time I said, it seems we need to start tagging it, keeping up with the Nwokos. Yeah, I think maybe next time we'll have more series on keeping up with the Nwokos. Yeah, before we go, we have this very heartwarming story that will just restore your faith in humanity in case you're losing hope. So a lady and her family were overjoyed after a man returned her iPhone 13 Pro Max, which fell inside a tricycle, that is a keke. And this is proof that good people actually do exist. Let's see the footage. Okay, I think we don't have that footage, but the truth is, Imagine losing a 13 Pro Max and then somebody else just bring it to you.
Wow.
That's to tell you that good people exist in the country, yeah.
Well, yes, you know, that's why I keep saying this, that Nigerians should try to understand that, yes, the social space is agog with a whole lot of negativity. Things are bad, this is happening, it cannot happen in Nigeria, no good thing thrive here.
Yeah.
And all of that is not the basic truth about this great country. Yes, we still do have honest people. Yes, we still do have God-fearing people. Yes, we still have people that believe in humanity. And hence we are seeing that. And we, on Trending, will always want to, in every way, respect and bring those people to your knowledge and indeed celebrate them for their beautiful and indeed patriotic actions that they take.
Yeah, that's true, because we've been seeing people painting Nigerians bad, painting people bad, especially in the country. Yesterday we saw several stories and all of that. It shows that we actually do have good people. Well, let's see the footage, because we need to see the face of this superhero. Let's get the footage.
I lost my father. I lost Thank you. I lost my father. Thank you. Thank you.
You can see that. What a joyous moment. So in case you're losing hope in humanity, good people still exist. That's one thing I need you to take home from this. Mr. Michael, you want to say something?
And in case you want to be carried up high, you know, pressed and hug, always return what you see on the ground.
Mr. Michael, I knew he was definitely going to say that. I knew he was going to say that because I saw all of the carrying ups and all of that. But that's just by the way. Good people exist. That's one thing I need to tell you. And these are things we really need to trend. Yes, not all of the painting the Nigerian people in the bad light and all of that. Things like this really need to trend, that we do have good people in the country. Well, we need to go now because time is not a friend of man. We need to wrap things up on Trending. It's been such an amazing time, such a good time for Friday edition of Trending. And you know you can engage with us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV. Well, this is where I have to tell you that I'll see you for another great and exciting edition of Trending and of Viewpoint same time next week. I remain Mercy Irabo. Do have a great weekend.
Well, for me, it's that the weekend has started. Yay! Hooray, it's Friday. But anyway, as much as you enjoy the weekend, remember that humanity needs your voice, your good action, and indeed your belief in this great country. Well, do have yourself a great weekend. I still remain Michael Gobadia. Bye for now. We'll see you next week.